Welcome back to the series of videos, Lessons from the Life of King David. In this series, we're looking at lessons from the life of King David and applying them to our lives today. There's an observation, interpretation, and an application. In lesson 2, we'll look at what qualifies individuals for use by God. Let's get into it. In 1 Samuel chapter 16, verses 4 through 13, we read, Samuel did what the Lord directed and went to Bethlehem. When the elders of the town met him, they trembled and asked, "Do you come in peace?" "In peace," he replied. "I've come to sacrifice to the Lord. Consecrate yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice." Then he consecrated Jesse and his sons and invited them to the sacrifice. When they arrived, Samuel saw Eliab and said, "Certainly the Lord's anointed one is here before him." But the Lord said to Samuel, "Do not look at his appearance or his stature, because I have rejected him. Man does not see what the Lord sees, for man sees what is visible, but the Lord sees the heart." Jesse called Abinadab and presented him to Samuel. "The Lord hasn't chosen this one either," Samuel said. Then Jesse presented Shammah, but Samuel said, "The Lord hasn't chosen this one either." After Jesse presented 7 of his sons to him, Samuel told Jesse, "The Lord hasn't chosen any of these." Samuel asked him, "Are these all the sons you have?" "They're still the youngest," he answered, "but right now he's tending sheep." Samuel told Jesse, "Send for him. We won't sit down and eat until he gets here." So Jesse sent for him. He had beautiful eyes and a healthy, handsome appearance. Then the Lord said, "Anoint him, for he is the one." So Samuel took the horn of oil, anointed him in the presence of his brothers, and the Spirit of the Lord took control of David from that day forward. Then Samuel got out and went to Ramah. While Samuel seemed to be impressed with appearances, the Lord was not impressed with physical appearances. David's brothers were physically more impressive to Samuel than David. David's brothers were kingly types, just like Saul. Tall and muscular, they must have dwarfed David in comparison. Eliab was so impressive to Samuel that he was sure that's who God had sent him to anoint as king. However, God had different intentions. In God's selection of David, we see that he wasn't looking for a king who would have the admiration of the people and lead based on mere appearances, though the Bible does say that David was glowing with health and had a kind appearance and some handsome features. As we learned in the first lesson, what God wanted was a king who would lead the people through obedience, which was the very heart of David. Often in life, we judge things and people by the way they appear. Although we are warned from the old adage to never judge a book by its cover, we often do. We make many assumptions regarding the character of others without knowing what's in their hearts. When it comes to being used by God, He examines the heart. He isn't looking for the appearance of being a strong leader in stature or command presence, as it's called. What do you believe we miss when we judge others by outward appearances or even judge ourselves? When it comes to leadership, why do you think the heart is more important than physical qualities? Looking at the outward appearance impacts the way we treat those around us. When we judge others too harshly on social taboos and expectations, we miss seeing the person for who they are. If we think more highly of a person based on appearance alone, then we run the risk of making a foolish mistake, just like Samuel. If we desire in our own lives to be used by God, we shouldn't look simply to polish our presentation, but to allow God to refine our hearts that we would humbly serve others, just like Jesus. In Matthew 20:26, Jesus told the disciples, "Whoever wants to be great must be your servant." Thank you for taking time to watch, and I hope you've learned this valuable lesson from the life of King David. Subscribe to the channel, enable notifications, and I'll see you in the next video.